And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Alice in Wordland. Yes, the pun is there. It's not Wonderland. Wordland. This is a party game about words from Draw Lab. I've always felt a bit of affinity to Alice in Wonderland because the Mad Hatter has excellent style in hats. Well, maybe not in this case. He's wearing a teapot as a hat and using his hat as a teapot. Anyway, this is a party game where you're trying to say words, but you can't use some forbidden letters that are on the board because the Red Queen is just a pain in the neck and says you can't use those letters. Here's how it works. In this game, each player is going to get a special character each round of the game. There's always going to be the Queen of Hearts, and some of these characters can't be used in too small player counts. We'll talk about the characters in a bit, but I want to go over kind of the general rules of the game. So each round of the game, you're going to use a timer, and the timer is going to be 10 or 15 seconds. You're going to draw a discussion topic. So today's discussion topic, vegetables. And then you'll turn over 3 letters, one from each of these piles, and these are forbidden letters. So we start, and while this timer is going, I have to think of a word and say that word that does not have any of these letters in it. So maybe I would say potato. And you can argue that potato's not the vegetable, but I don't care. And then you press the button again, and then it's the next person's turn. And so it has to have something to do with the discussion topic. You can't say janitor, because janitor cleans up the peelings of a vegetable. But I might say plant. Oh, but see, I used the N. So if you make a mistake or you don't press the timer in time, you're out of the round. When you're out of the round, you'll take the top card here. These cards are numbered from 1 to however many players are in the game. And you'll see that as the numbers go up, especially if you're playing a bigger game, the number of points you get for staying in that long. And you keep going through, there's one person left alive in a round, and then you're going to take these points. And then you'll start another round. And once everyone has been each character once of the characters you're using in that game, then whoever has the most points is the winner. As I said, the Queen is in every game. The Queen always goes first, and at the beginning of the round, the Queen will draw one of these red cards, these red letters, which are vowels, A, O, T, and E. Okay, T is not a vowel, but, oh, look, it spells T. O-T. Anyway, very common letters. And one round, the Queen can play her card, and then that letter is forbidden for each of the other players. The White Rabbit's very similar, except the White Rabbit will draw a purple card that they can play. The Cheshire Cat can basically pick one round where they pass and say, oh, I'm not answering this time. The Tweedle twins have these 2 time tokens, and you can spend them to press the time again. It's running out. You press it again for each time token that you play. The Caterpillar, you'll put this token in front of someone else at the beginning of a round, and you get half of their points. Not their points, but you get points equal to half of their score. So you're trying to pick somebody you think will do well. Alice gets 50% more points. The 2 of Hearts can basically force someone to take another turn, and for some reason the Queen's letter does not affect them. And then the Mad Hatter is a combo between the Tweedle twins and the Cheshire Cat, where you can turn sideways and add a time token. So those are the different special abilities that can happen in the game. The artwork here is really well done. The special abilities I don't know that are too easily noted by the cards, but once you go through them, you understand what they all do. The cards here are really good quality as character cards. The letter cards are not as good of quality. They're also kind of boring, but at the same time, they're just letters, so they're kind of what you need at that point in time. Then there's tons of categories. Some of them are a little weird, like ninjas. Okay, fine. And then we got clothes. That's a much more open category, and outer space. So some categories are wide open. Airplanes maybe is a little bit more. Something red. Something in your sandwich. A bug. And some of them you can see you need at least a certain number of players for those to work. But there's a lot of different category cards. The main thing about this game, besides the tokens here, which are fine, the main thing is this teapot. So obviously, cool device used for this game. On the bottom, you can change it from a 10-second to a 15, or you can turn it off. And you can also make this so the volume's lower, it's not nearly as loud. Here's the thing. This music is really annoying. I don't get what possessed them to add the music. I would have rather it just have a timer. That's actually, to me, somewhat detrimental to the game. The fact that it keeps playing that same song over and over and over. A timer is one thing, right? And a timer's stressful, and the music can add to that stress. But it even sounds like it's out of tune a little bit. It's just not, I don't know. This is a cool device, but I might use an iPhone or something with a 10-second reset timer thing, mabob, instead of this. But this may not bother other people that much, but I just found this to be a cool centerpiece, but annoying. Well, there you have it. Alice in Wordland is a party game in which you are just speedily trying to say things. I found it worked well. I played it with my family. Everyone's going around saying letters. The biggest hang-up of the game, besides the annoying teapot, but I can get over that, is the powers. Because each time you get a power, you're like, what does my power do? Okay, that's what my power does. All right, let's go. And then you play the game itself. The special powers enhance the game, but they almost are a little confusing, like, oh, can I play this letter? Oh, I'm doing this special power, and someone else says, wait, what does that power do again? So that's going to happen the first couple times, and it would be really bland without those powers. At the same time, I think they might add a little bit too much chaos to the game to some degree. The artwork on the cover is fine. The artwork in the game is fine. It has its Alice in Wonderland theme, but that theme is there or not. It's just that, hey, we're using these. You just have to say words without saying the letters there, and you keep going till someone runs out. You're going to run out pretty quickly because you have only so much time. That annoying music's playing. You're like, I got to say the word, and then you do it. And it goes back and forth. Sometimes we never had like this epic showdown of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth till someone finally caved in. But there is things, but usually you'll go back and forth and then someone will say a word that has one of those letters. Not being able to use 3 letters of the alphabet is more of a restriction than you might think. I find that it's enjoyable. I just don't know if it's one that I would put in my collection for the long term. It's similar to other party games. It has a fun, whimsical theme here with the Alice in Wonderland motif on it. And it's interesting, although I think it works better with more players than not. With fewer players, it's okay. It's interesting. I just don't know that it will hold my attention for a very long time. I like a lot of stuff that Draw Lab does, and this is fine, but it kind of is in that middle of party games that this feels like the kind of party game that I would have picked up at Barnes & Noble's clearance sale, not like one that I'm going to be touting as Game of the Year. And there's very few party games that come out over the course of the year that meet that category. So if you said, hey, let's play Alice in Wonderland, sure, I'd give it a whirl. It's fun. We play it. We pass around the characters. It's silly. It goes back and forth. You laugh at someone shouting out a wrong word. Of course, there's the rules that a word has to meet the thing, and if you argue over that, it's majority of the group wins. That could come up. The example they use in there is if it's a circus, you can't say teachers because teachers go to the circus. That's kind of a stretch. And they said you can't say happiness because that has to be a tangible thing. That's where the arguments start happening from that, I believe. Anyhow, if this interests you, hopefully you can tell from watching the review, there's certainly some people who are going to hate it straight out because of the way it works. And other people I think will have a lot of fun with it. I had fun. It's worth at least playing once. That's Alice in Wordland. Dice Tower Judgment, a decent party game.